Foom, foom, foom. On December 5 and 20, foom, foom, foom. Oh, a child was born this night, so rosy white, so rosy white. Foom, foom, in a stable mean and lowly, foom, foom, foom. On December 5 and 20, foom, foom, foom. On December 5 and 20, foom, foom, foom. Comes the most important day, let us be gay, let us be gay. We go first to church and then we have the sweetest buns and candy, foom, 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 foom. God will send us days of feasting, foom, 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 foom. Send us days of feasting, foom, foom, foom. Both in hot months and in cold, for young and old, for young and old. Foom, foom, ever singing of his glory, foom, foom, foom.
Time to run off to your Westmont Lions Club meeting, Walter.
Oh yes, now that we've wrapped up the Candy Day in October, it's time to get a move on with next year's service projects.
Planning to be at the Taste of Westmont again, dear?
Yes, we're always at the Taste of Westmont selling corn. The folks look forward to us selling beer and pretzels at the 4th of July and co-hosting the village's annual Red, White, and Barbecue Festival.
Why, I guess you could say you're serving beer to serve the community.
The Lions help local community members receive vision and hearing care, provide scholarships to area students, and much more. We serve our community of Westmont by meeting the needs of local communities and even the world.
Helen Keller challenged you back in 1917 to become the Knights of the Blind, and you sure have. You're still serving the village of Westmont and those with vision and hearing impairments. I bet helping vision impaired will be your calling forever. You'll even be known for supporting those causes 65 years from now.
With our more than 1.3 million members in 205 companies and countries and geographic areas, we are different in many ways, but we share a core belief. Community is what we make of it.
You'll find Lions are from all walks of life, but you all have one thing in common. Your passion about service and about Westmont. The Lions Club community is what you make of it. Support your local Lions Club today.
Hush, are the angels so still as the
village of Westmont, also known as a progressive village, is a proud supporter of community arts and special events. My, we certainly have come a long way since our village incorporation in 1921. Over the last 2 decades, we've seen great improvements: streets, sidewalks, running water. What a wonderful community we live in today. But can you imagine what Westmont will be like after the turn of the century? After the year 2000? What lies ahead in Westmont's future? Do you suppose we're likely to see automated cars that talk to you when you drive, and telephones that you can hold in the palm of your hand and take with you wherever you go, so that you can talk to other people all the time? What if every transportable microtelephone was also a small television studio capable of recording everything you say and do? And what if those recordings could be sent out over radio waves, so that any other person with a handheld television studio could see and hear what you say and do all day long? In reality, I suppose that could be annoying, but this and even more progress awaits us. Can you imagine restaurants where you can go and order and pick up your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so that both mom and dad can go to work and make lots of money for kids to spend on exciting games such as electronic Scrabble? Can you imagine? Regardless of all the changes to come, we can be sure of one thing: the village of Westmont will always be about the people, a great place to live, work, and raise a family. We ask all our citizens to get involved and support your village, so that we will always be worthy of our community slogan, the Progressive Village. The village of Westmont, a really cool place, even if it doesn't have handheld electronic Scrabble yet.
Oh, see the blazing Yule before us. La 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus. La 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 la. Follow me in merry measure. La 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure. La 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 la. La 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 la. Fast away, la 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 la. Hail the new, la 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 la. La 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 la. Fa la la la, heedless of the wind and weather. Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la.
That Bing Crosby sure can sing and dance.
I just love Ingrid Bergman.
Can you believe that wonderful drama, Citizen Kane? That Orson Welles is a genius.
I'd venture to guess there is no better movie than Casablanca. It won the Academy Award in 1943.
And how about that Jane Austen story, Pride and Prejudice? They made that film, I think they broke the mold. This piece of cinema could never be remade. It was perfection.
Classics. If only we could put Going My Way and The Lost Weekend and the others into a time capsule so that we could cherish them forever.
I never want to forget the time we went to the cinema to see Grapes of Wrath. Remember that night? Henry Fonda. He was really going somewhere.
I remember, darling, if only we could savor the moment and watch it at home.
If only. Some folks really do have television. Not sure why when everything we need comes through the radio.
Well, in a magical world, there would be television for everyone to watch and a way to watch Jimmy Cagney on it, too.
Who knows what futuristic contraption that would be. But it sure would be nice to savor our favorite movie classics.
I hear there's a picture show in Westmont called Westmont Classic Movies.
Do you suppose Westmont Classic Movies has our favorite movies?
Surely they would, if there were such a thing, dear. Surely they would.
Westmont Classic Movies, 307 and a half Ogden Avenue. Reminisce with your favorite classic today.
Here's an announcement from our friendly artist group, PVPN.
Jim, did you hear about that new theater group that took up shop in Westmont?
Gee willikers, right here in our little bustling burg?
Can I go to the new theater? Silly Bonnie, it's a group for theater buffs.
Mommy, can I be a theater buff?
Oh dear, yes, maybe. It's for acting, darling. You could pretend to play a mommy or a nurse, and Bonnie could act like a teacher.
Golly, you say kids and dads could join this progressive network?
Why, honey, it's so progressive that even mommies get to join.
They're so progressive, everyone gets to pretend.
Tell me more about this organization, Betsy.
Yeah, Mommy, what do they do?
Apparently, they call themselves the Progressive Village Performance Network.
PVPN.
Precisely, Bonnie. That is an acronym.
Why, yes. This PVPN, in other words, is an organization whose mission is to inspire, nurture, challenge,
Amaze.
Educate, and empower artists and audiences in order to artistically enhance our village through diverse access and a variety of participation opportunities.
So maybe I can do more than pretend. Maybe I could have an instrument concert and be a hepcat. Or draw a picture.
Yes, kids. That is what they refer to as the arts. Anything you can think of that is creative is called the arts.
Golly, dear, I read that they have a full theatrical season in store for our community.
What's that you say?
This spring, there will be a play called Bleacher Bums, all about our Chicago Cubs in Wrigley Field.
Will Sweatbreads Bailey be there or Turner Barber? Oh, Bonnie, the actual Cubbies won't be there.
Yes, it's a comedy, and it will play this March.
What else is there?
Well, the next play is about a fiery young orphan girl who has hopeless circumstances until she meets a wealthy gentleman named Oliver Warbucks.
Yes, dear. It's called Annie.
The play is set for next summer, and they want lots of youngsters to try out.
What else? What else?
A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Gee whiz, Mommy, will I get a chance to be in the play?
You're the perfect age, Sally. The theater is the perfect way to make you well-rounded and eventually make you a more interesting woman.
Yes, Sally. A cultural background will help you to catch a husband one day.
What about me?
Bonnie, you can drag a hoof with the best Tom or Preppy.
Whoopee, PVPN sounds perfectly swell. Killer diller.
Now, children, let's remember to support our new PVPN and tell our friends all about it.
The idea is to give everyone a chance to get involved if they're so inclined.
How can we tell people how to find out more?
Apparently, PVPN is pretty progressive. I've been hearing some type of slang the kids are using to describe it, something to the tune of www.pvpn.weebly.com. I have no idea what that means, but surely it means wonderful.
Anyhow, PVPN surely will enhance our community of Westmont.
I'm sure happy they brought it to our town.
Okay then, it's decided. We will join in on PVPN and try something new today.
Yay!
Ready?
Uncle John's. The instrument is fun for every age group. It's easy to strum familiar tunes. Some lessons here are by a book of music. Put in some practice and you'll be an expert soon. 'Cause when you think ukulele, you think of Uncle John's.
Yeah, shop at Uncle John's Music at 33 North Cass Avenue. This holiday season for ukuleles, guitars, violins, brass percussion, and so much more. Gift certificates are available for merchandise or lessons.
If ukulele isn't your thing, and you need a guitar with 6 strings, you can get acoustic or electric, among many, many, many other things. 'Cause when you think of music, you think of Uncle John's.
In Westmont, Illinois.
PVPN is proud to present the Family Radio Hour. The Westmont Park District and PVPN Radio brings you the classic holiday romantic comedy based on the hit film, The Bishop's Wife. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Westmont. All of the stars are here tonight to lend an extra thrill to our holiday season. I mean, of course, James Edward Dauphin, who joins John Sajanda and Donna Canick in our Christmas present to you, the delightful play, The Bishop's Wife. Samuel Goodwin's fine and sensitive screen production won your hearts as well as your applause. I'm sure most of you are quite busy these days with last-minute shopping and getting the house in order for the holidays. A time of year when the Westmont Park District is full of holiday cheer, with many things to do and see this holiday season, but we'll tell you more about that later as now. The curtain for Act 1 of The Bishop's Wife, starring James Edward Dauphin as Dudley, John Sajanda as the Bishop, and Donna Canick as Julia.
It's a late afternoon in December. In a rather shabby section of a large city, there is a mysterious but friendly gentleman who joins a group of Christmas shoppers at a window display. His attention is drawn to a blind man who is attempting to cross a busy street. He walks quickly to him and takes his arm. The man is both startled and grateful at the same time.
Oh, this is very kind of you.
Why, it's a privilege. Excuse me, which way are you going?
Just over there, the Mutual Building. My doctor is in there, you see. I have hopes.
Fine, fine.
I'm all right now.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you.
A Merry Christmas.
The kind gentleman watches over the blind man to assure that he is safe before joining a group of children who are busy looking into a store window display. A mother pushing a baby carriage approaches the window with a very excited older child in tow.
Oh, Mother, please lift me up. I can't see.
Okay, here you are.
As the mother lets go of the baby carriage to lift her child, she is unaware that the carriage begins to roll down the sidewalk.
Look at the choo-choo train, Mother.
Come on, my darling, we have to go.
As the mother puts her child down, she sees the baby carriage heading for a busy intersection.
My baby!
The kind gentleman appears out of nowhere and grabs the handle of the carriage just before rolling into the path of a large truck.
Oh, my baby! Oh, my baby! You saved her! Thank God you saved her. How could I ever thank you?
Well, don't try. Just make sure it doesn't happen again.
Oh, I promise you I won't.
All right. Remember that now. On your way.
The kind gentleman continues his walk down the sidewalk when he sees a beautiful young woman admiring a display of hats in a window. The woman crosses the street to the store selling Christmas trees. As she enters the shop, she recognizes an old friend having a heated discussion with the store owner, Mrs. Magenti.
This one here resembles its noble cousin, the California red fir, and it is botanically dissimilar. Take heed, Magenti. This is a specimen of the white fur, and you, being a dealer, should know better.
Do you want to buy it or not?
Why, Julia! What a wonderful surprise. My dear, beautiful Julia.
Professor Witheridge, but what are you doing here?
I'm about to negotiate the purchase of a Christmas tree.
So am I. Hello, Mrs. Magenti.
Oh, Mrs. Broom, how do you do?
How much do you charge for this miserable weed?
$1.85.
$1.85 for this half-hearted twig? I will pay you 10 cents a branch or take my trade elsewhere.
What can I do for you, Mrs. Broom?
You can save me that tree outside. The big one, right by the door.
Okay.
Every Christmas for the past 18 years, Magenti and I have been reigniting the same argument.
I didn't know you celebrated Christmas. I thought you had no religion.
I don't, but I like a Christmas tree. Reminds me of my childhood. Can you imagine me ever having been a child? Tell me, how's Henry?
Oh, he's well, I suppose, but so tired and worried.
Raising money for the new cathedral, huh?
It's slow work, Professor. And you, how's your book coming?
Oh, splendidly. Greatest history of Rome since Gibbons. And now, madam, I don't choose to prolong this tawdry bickering any further.
Oh, all right. 10 cents a branch. All right, it's $1.40.
Very well, my good friend. Here's your blood money.
Mrs. Magenti, would you send the tree up on Christmas Eve? Not until late, though. I don't want my daughter to see it.
Oh, sure, don't you worry. I'll send it when the little one goes to bed. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I wish it weren't so late. The cathedral meeting is meeting with Henry. I really should be there.
Well, one of these days we'll have time for a nice talk again. Oh, here. Here for Henry's cathedral fund.
This coin?
It has very little value, I'm afraid. Just an old Roman coin. I picked it up years ago in Italy.
Oh, it's a wonderful contribution.
Nonsense. Might be called the widow's mite. Only I'm not a widow. Julia, what's the matter?
Nothing. Oh, if only Henry and I could spend Christmas back here with you, where we were all so happy with all of our old friends.
Julia, no.
I'm sorry. It was really very childish of me. Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye, Julia.
Why, Professor, how good to see you again.
Who are you?
And how well you look after all these years.
Well,
Don't you remember me?
Let's see. It was Vienna, wasn't it?
Vienna. Beautiful old Vienna, yes.
When I was lecturing on Roman history?
And what splendid lectures they were, and what a one you were with the ladies.
Fancy you remembering that.
I've been standing on the corner watching you, Professor. You and Julia.
You know Julia?
In a way, yes.
Poor girl.
She's unhappy.
Yes? Just when were you in Vienna?
Many times. I'm interested in Julia, Professor. And Henry. What seems to be their trouble?
Oh, no special trouble, I imagine.
Henry's the bishop now, yes?
Oh, yes. That used to be his church over there.
St. Timothy's.
Perishing from neglect.
It's such a nice little church. Well, delighted to have seen you again, Professor.
Strange. Unless I've completely lost my memory, I've never seen that fellow before in my life.
Joyful and triumphant, O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. O come, let us adore him. O come, let us adore him. O come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord.
Good evening, Mrs. Broom.
Good evening, Matilda. Is Debbie in bed yet?
Yes, madam, and Mrs. Hamilton and the committee are in the other room with the bishop. Dinner has been waiting a long time. I certainly don't know what to do about it in the kitchen.
We'll have dinner just as soon as they leave.
Yes, but the chicken, Mrs. Broom.
Don't worry about it, Matilda. Oh, I'm terribly sorry I'm so late. Good evening, Mrs. Hamilton. I was delayed doing some Christmas shopping. Good evening, Mr. Perry, Mrs. Trumbull. Hello, Mrs. Ward. I hope you've been having a good meeting.
We have not. I've never in my life encountered such fuzzy thinking. Do you think we have made any progress?
Oh, no, Mrs. Hamilton.
Mr. Perry was about to tell us something before my wife came in.
It's merely a suggestion. If Mrs. Hamilton approves, we might be able to place the George E. Hamilton Memorial Chapel here on the northeast.
It would be completely out of sight there. I won't stand for it.
Mrs. Hamilton, surely you understand that this cathedral cannot be designed for the glory of an individual, and it must be created for all people.
I'm thoroughly displeased at your whole attitude, Henry Brome. You seem to forget that I was instrumental in having you made bishop, although I always thought you too young. Is that an exaggeration?
Oh, yes, maybe no.
Well, you were the driving spirit behind the whole thing.
I distinctly remember that you told us.
I had every confidence in you when you were a poor little parson in a church in the slums. I confess my confidence in you has weakened.
Well, I regret that I have been a disappointment.
Regrets and apologies are no good whatsoever. You give me the impression of being confused, indecisive, and utterly ineffectual. It is not the kind of leadership that we expect from our bishop. You better remember one thing. You will build that cathedral as I want it, or you will not build it at all. That's all I have to say.
Good night, Mrs. Hamilton.
Good night, Mrs. Brome.
Good night, Mrs. Brome.
Good night, Mrs. Brome.
Julia?
I'm terribly sorry I'm so late, Henry. Has everyone gone?
Yes, dear, some time ago.
Not another argument, Henry. Mrs. Hamilton?
No, Mrs. Hamilton is a selfish, vain, old... She made it very clear, Julia. Either we build the cathedral the way she wants it, or it won't be built at all. What a ghastly meeting.
You didn't give in to her.
Indeed not. I made it very clear that I have no intention of being strangled by her purse strings.
Oh, Henry, I'm proud of you.
I had a most unchristian impulse to take those blueprints and give her a good whack over her mink coat.
I beg your pardon, Bishop.
Yes, Miss Cassaway?
Mr. Trevor's on the phone.
Tell him the bishop will call him back, please, after dinner.
Yes, Mrs. Brome.
Henry, what's happened to you? To us? To our marriage?
That's a strange question to ask.
No, we used to be so happy. We used to make other people happy. Henry, that was your gift. You're no financier and you're no promoter, kowtowing to people, flattering them, begging them.
It's got to be done, Julia. I want this cathedral to stand like a great beacon. I want its light to shine. I would want it...
Yes, yes, Henry. Oh, here's a contribution I collected.
Oh? What is it?
It's an old Roman coin from Professor Witheridge.
Well, what does he think I can do with it?
Well, it's a beginning. Now all you need is just another $4 million.
Julia, don't be flippant about this. Well, if dinner's ready, let's have it over with. I have a lot of work to do tonight.
The soup's very good, Matilda.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Brome.
Oh, Julia, I'm sorry. I was so thoughtless just now. I was just thinking, tomorrow, perhaps we could spend the day together.
Henry!
Yes, call on the professor, maybe, and have lunch at Michelle's.
Michelle's? Oh, it's been years since we've been there.
Please forgive me.
Oh, yes, Miss Cassaway?
Well, I've been trying to explain to Mr. Trevor, but he simply insists upon talking to you.
Oh, Julia.
He's on the cathedral committee, isn't he? Well, go ahead, dear. You'd better talk to him.
Yes, Mr. Trevor. Very well, Mr. Trevor. I'll be there. 10:30 tomorrow morning? Good night. You may as well go home now, Miss Cassaway.
But there's still a great deal of work to do, sir.
Oh, you're a secretary, not a machine. Now run along.
Thank you. Oh, and don't forget, you have a speech to make tomorrow at the Junior Assembly.
Oh no. What time?
It's a luncheon meeting, 1 o'clock. Good night, Bishop.
Oh, good night, Miss Cassaway. Oh, God, what am I to do? Can't you help me? Can't you tell me? Oh, God, please, please help me. Yes?
Good evening.
Well, what can I do for you?
That isn't the question, Henry.
Oh, well, what is it?
What can I do for you?
Look, I'm afraid you must telephone for an appointment. I'm in the middle of dinner.
I know, Henry, but you asked for help, you know.
I asked, but who told you I asked for help?
Well, you're known to be a good man. You were heard. I was instructed to come here and answer to your prayer.
Who are you?
I'm an angel.
I beg your pardon?
An angel.
An angel? I knew it. I've been working too hard.
Now, don't be alarmed, Henry. I know it's hard to believe, even for you. But this is my district, and I...
Do you mind if I sit down?
No, please do. Now, let's see. You have some problems, I see, concerning the building of a new cathedral.
Yes.
And here's a picture of it. Oh, it's beautiful and magnificent. Well, Henry, do you believe I am what I say I am?
Well, how can I have nothing but your word for it?
But you are a bishop. You, of all people, can trust the word of an angel.
Well, what do you propose to do? Perform a miracle?
If necessary, yes.
Well, why don't you? Why don't you just create a miracle with a wave of your hand?
No, you wouldn't want me to do that, would you?
Well,
how would you explain it?
Henry? Is anything wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had a caller.
Oh. How have you been, Julia? I'm Dudley. Henry is engaging me to help him with his work.
You mean you're going to be his assistant?
Yes, that's it exactly. I'm going to try and help Henry get some relaxation.
That's just what I've been praying for.
You too,
Henry, I'm so relieved, dear. Where do you come from, Dudley?
All around.
But, Julia, this man claims he's
I've been near doing some social work downtown.
Julia, if you don't mind, I must talk to this gentleman alone.
We were just having dinner, Dudley. Won't you join us?
Oh, that's very kind of you, but I really must go. I'll see you both in the morning, yes?
In the morning?
Yes, bright and early.
I'll wait in the dining room, Henry. Good night.
Good night, Julia.
Are you sure you're an angel?
I know it isn't easy, Henry, but you've just got to take me on faith.
Yes, but for how long? How long will it take?
Until you can utter another prayer and say that you have no further need of me. Then I'll be gone and forgotten. Julia's waiting, Henry.
Yes, I know, but I still don't understand. Dudley? Dudley! Where are you? Dudley?
What's wrong, Henry? You look so pale.
Do I?
Sit down, dear. Henry, what's the rest of Dudley's name?
I don't know.
Why, Henry, you're trembling.
I'm not surprised. A lesser man would quiver.
Well, you'll feel better after you've eaten. Matilda's baked your favorite dessert, dear. Angel food cake. Henry, what is it?
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains.
Oh, the bishop didn't eat his breakfast.
No, Delia, he took only his prune juice.
Prune juice? What's the matter? Is he sick?
Oh, he looked perfectly awful. He said that he had a very bad sleep last night.
Passing up a breakfast like that? It just ain't normal.
Nobody expects him to be normal. He's a bishop.
God rest you, merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day, to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
Bishop? Bishop Braun?
Oh, good morning, Miss Castaway.
Why, I was just in your study, sir. There's a man in there. He says he's your new assistant.
Oh, then he did come back.
He says we're going to be working together.
Yes, there doesn't seem to be much I can do about it. Well, run along to the office, Miss Castaway. I'll go in and see him.
Yes, sir.
Well, here I am, Henry, completely at your service.
It may interest you to know I didn't sleep 20 minutes last night. And I don't mind adding, I'm in a highly nervous condition.
Well, then the first thing we'll have to do is... well, hello, good morning, Julia.
Good morning, Dudley. It's a lovely day.
Lovely.
Henry and I are going out together.
Oh, Julia, I'm terribly sorry, but we can't. I've got to see Mr. Trevor at 10:30, and after that there's the junior assembly.
But Henry, you promised.
Yes, I know I did.
Well, but Dudley could represent you at those meetings, couldn't he?
Could I?
Well, that's out of the question. They expect me. It would never do if I sent an assistant. Excuse us, Dudley. I want to speak to my wife.
Of course.
In the hall, dear. Julia, you see, the trouble is, well, that man in there, I can't explain.
You needn't try, Henry.
But you mustn't think.
This is the way it is. This is the way it always will be. Well, I'll tell Matilda she can have the day off for Christmas shopping. I'll take care of Debbie. I'll see you at dinner, Henry.
What are you doing, Dudley?
I'm just looking through your files, Henry. I see that Mrs. Hamilton has pledged $1 million to the Cathedral Fund, but she has not sent in her check yet.
Never mind that file. That's work for a bookkeeper, not an... That's work for a bookkeeper.
Well, I see you're believing to believe in me.
Yeah, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from or who sent you. I only wish you'd make haste.
Because the cathedral must be built?
No, obviously, that's the most important thing.
Or because Julia must be happy? It's going to be difficult to help you, Henry, unless I'm sure of what it is you really want.
Yes, well, I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me. Mr. Trevor likes punctuality.
Well, run along, Henry. This file here is an awful mess. Think I'll reorganize it.
I still think you're wasting your time on unimportant details.
Oh, nothing's unimportant, Henry. Remember, we're interested in even the lowliest sparrow. Bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves.
Hello?
Well, hello, Debbie. Come in, come in.
How did you do that just now? All those cards in Daddy's file? You just waved your hands and they all jumped out of the box and jumped in again.
Well, yeah, that. It's just a system of rearranging card files.
Do it again.
Some other time.
You're Dudley, aren't you? Mommy told me. Mommy says you're very nice.
Well, that's extremely kind of Mommy.
She said that maybe with you here, maybe we'll get to see Daddy more often.
Yes, maybe we will.
Debbie, that'll be enough out of you, dear. Come along.
Yes, Mommy.
So you're going out?
To the park. I'm going to play in the snow. Goodbye, Dudley.
Goodbye, Debbie. You have a good time.
Mommy!
What's the matter, honey?
They don't want me to be a part of their snowball fight.
Why not?
I guess I'm too little or something.
Aw, now.
Julia!
Dudley, I didn't expect to see you here.
Well, I often walk in the park. Come on, Debbie, we'll show them how wrong they are. Hey, kids! Kids, who's the head man around here?
I am.
What's the idea of this game you're playing?
This isn't a game. This is a battle. They attack the fort and we try to defend it, see?
Yes, I see. Well, this young lady here would like to be a part of it.
Who? Her? She can't fight. Her father's a bishop.
What difference does that make, High Hat? How about letting her play in your team?
She couldn't throw a snowball as far as I could spit. Let's go, guys.
Oh, couldn't she? Come on, Debbie, let's show them what you can really do.
It's true, I can't throw one.
Oh, of course you can. Here, pack it tight, put it in this hand, take your arm back and aim it at him, and go!
Hey!
Beautiful, a bullseye.
Did you see that? She throws a great curve. Come on, kid, you're in our army.
Well, Debbie seems to be having a fine time. A regular snowbird she is.
Aren't you supposed to be working?
I always take a walk before lunch. It's quite relaxing, you know, Julia.
Oh, I wish you could convince Henry of that.
Speaking of lunch, Julia, I thought I'd go to Michelle's. Ever been there?
Michelle's?
Mhm.
Oh, yes. We used to go there often, years ago.
Well, how about going there today?
You and I? To Michelle's? Oh, no, I couldn't.
Why not?
Well,
Surely you would think Henry wouldn't mind.
oh, no, it isn't that. Well, you see, Matilda's off shopping, and I have to look after Debbie.
Oh, yes. Well, here's Matilda now.
Hello, Mrs. Brown.
Matilda?
I just thought, Mrs. Brown, I just thought that if you wish, I'll take Debbie home.
But Matilda, you're shopping.
Oh, I finished it. I finished it so quick. It was just like a miracle.
You don't say.
I thought Debbie might like to go home and make Christmas cookies.
Oh, I'm sure she'd love to, but...
Well then, Mrs. Brown, I'll just go and get her.
Well, Julia? Michelle's?
I think that would be very nice.
Good.
Dudley?
Yes?
Just a few minutes ago, when you said you saw Matilda...
Yes.
Oh, it's nonsense.
What's nonsense?
You were looking the other way when you said you saw her.
I was?
I thought you were. How silly of me. Wait here, Dudley. I'll say goodbye to Debbie.
Julia? Julia, I'm home. Julia?
Why, Bishop, I thought you were out for lunch.
Well, I canceled my appointment, Matilda. Are Mrs. Brome and Debbie here?
Well, Debbie's upstairs, sir, but Mrs. went out to lunch with Mr. Dudley.
Ah, well, she said... with Dudley?
Why, yes, sir. I thought you knew, sir.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, dear.
I'm so glad you knew about Michelle's, Dudley. It's so nice to be back here again, only...
Only what?
Well, you seem to know so much. It makes me uncomfortable.
Well, in that case, I'm very sorry. I learned anything. You have memories of this place, yes, haven't you?
Yes. As a matter of fact, it was in this restaurant that Henry asked me to marry him.
Yes, I know.
You know?
I mean, I know how you must feel. There's a fortune teller over there. Care to have your palm read?
No, thank you. Would you?
Oh, no, I know too much about myself as it is.
And I know so little about myself.
Really? May I take a look at your hand?
Can you tell fortunes too?
It's not too difficult, no.
Well, what do you see?
I never noticed, Julia. Your eyes are green. I see a great deal of happiness. I see a woman who's adored. I see a rich, full life.
Do you see Henry's new cathedral?
No, I don't.
And Debbie?
No need to worry about her. She'll be like you, Julia. She'll have her youth and beauty no matter how old she lives to be.
But people do grow old.
No. No, not everybody. Only those who are born old to begin with. You, Julia, you were born young. You'll remain that way.
I wish I could believe you.
You may.
You haven't looked at my hand once. I simply don't know what to think of you, Dudley, whether you're serious or joking.
Well, I'm at my most serious when I am joking.
Well, then maybe you should... Oh, no.
Well?
That table over there?
Huh?
No, don't look.
What?
3 ladies, all on the cathedral committee. They're simply glaring at me.
Really? Well, glare back.
They saw you holding my hand.
Oh. All right, well, if you excuse me, I'd better do something about that, hadn't I?
What did you do to them? Now they're smiling at me. Look, they're waving.
Well, wave back, Julia.
Yes.
I didn't do anything. Just introduced myself, chatted a moment, ordered a drink.
A drink? And they took it?
Sure. Stingers. They're really friendly, Julia. They promised to drop by our table a little bit later.
Dudley, may I make an understatement?
Please do.
You are a very unusual man.
I'll let you in on something, Julia. You're quite right.
And guests.
Kiddos, look at the lights in Westmont.
We could spend all night in Westmont.
What should we do first?
Go to a restaurant?
Go shopping!
Settle down, children. The best part of living in Westmont is we get to shop and eat all these wonderful restaurants and shops whenever we want. Westmont has it all.
Yippee! Even ice cream!
Ice cream always sounds good. Right now I was thinking we'd go see the beautiful twinkling Christmas lights and the Christmas of the streets.
The colorful Christmas lights will help to lead the way for us through the town.
Golly gee, I see families skating in the park.
We should tell everyone about the fun activities at our wonderful town of Westmont.
Do you suppose those people on the train from Chicago will stop and have a bite here and do some shopping before they head home?
Of course. Westmont is known for our many different types of businesses. Look at all the people walking and driving around.
What fun, Daddy.
Okay, kiddos, what's next?
I say we should make shopping and a nice meal in Westmont a family tradition.
But we can't forget Mom.
Father, how can we buy Mother's Christmas present if she's with us?
Hey, we can have two traditions. We get to shop with Mommy for Daddy, too.
We can all come together and enjoy the holiday spirit Westmont offers during the holidays. Thankfully, we have Westmont Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau to help us bring these amazing businesses to Westmont. We can share our town with everyone.
And in summer?
Of course summer, too. Now give me a hug, you two.
Margaret, would you like a glass of cold hibiscus tea?
Sandra, you make everything look so perfect. How do you have time to make hibiscus tea after you've been ironing and baking cakes all day?
Are you silly? After I put the pie on the windowsill to cool this afternoon, all I had to do was twist the cap of this Jamaica Tea's hibiscus tea.
How sophisticated. I'd love a glass of Jamaica Tea's tea then if you put it that way.
Jamaica hibiscus tea cools me down after my household chores before Kenneth gets home from work. I look refreshed and relaxed, ready for his arrival through that front door.
Oh, Sandra, you always look fresh and beautiful.
It's because I drink Jamaica Tea's tea for its inherent health benefits and naturally sweet, refreshing taste. Rich in vitamins and antioxidants, this powerful brew will cool you down as it supercharges your immune system. With no caffeine, no additives, low sugar, and no preservatives, it's an ideal family beverage.
No wonder you're so slim and trim. You make it look so effortless.
It is, Margaret.
Let's perk up a bit before our husbands get home with some hibiscus tea then. We'll have some tea and pat the pillows just in time for their arrival.
When Kenneth comes home from his hard day at work, all he wants is to be greeted with a smile and a bow in my hair.
Don't forget a Manhattan on the rocks, Sandra.
Oh, I've gotten quite adventurous. I mix hibiscus tea with a cocktail or two. Hibiscus makes for a wonderful, healthy mixer, and Kenneth just loves the new twist.
Bathe the kids, do a last-minute spruce up, put on Glenn Miller, and wait with a Jamaica Tea's hibiscus tea cocktail for two.
I love the exotic flavors and natural sweetness of my Jamaica Teas.
We return you now to Act 2 of The Bishop's Wife, brought to you by the Westmont Auto Mile and Jamaica Teas.
Reliable authorities tell us that the Christmas season is the happiest time of the year. But it's anything but that for Bishop Henry Brougham. Determined to build a cathedral, he can't raise the money. And if that isn't trouble enough, he finds his prayers have been answered in the person of a young, handsome, and full-fledged angel named Dudley, who seems to be more problem for the bishop.
I enjoyed lunch very much, Dudley. Now, don't you think we'd better go home?
I thought you'd like to take a walk.
Oh, I do, but... Oh, Dudley, wait. There's a friend of mine. Professor Woodridge? Professor, wait!
Why, Julia, what wonderful luck meeting again. This man, are you with him?
Yes, of course. Dudley, this is Professor Woodridge.
Oh, the professor knows me well. The University of Vienna.
Young man, I don't believe you've ever been to Vienna.
It's a game we play, Julia. He always pretends he's never seen me before.
Dudley is Henry's new assistant.
You mean you really know this fellow?
Of course I do.
Well, in that case, how about dropping into my humble diggings for a bit of Yuletide cheer?
Oh, I'd love to, but only for a moment.
Come along, Dudley. It's just around the corner. Ha! Just enough in the bottle. Here's your glass, Dudley.
Thank you.
We'll drink a toast. A toast to Julia, a charming lady.
Yes, to a charming lady.
Ah, you've noticed.
Yes. Isn't it more remarkable that you had?
Well, when you want to know about a woman, you ask the old men, because they know.
Well, Professor, when are you going to show us your book?
My book? Never.
Please.
You're writing a book?
You didn't know?
You didn't tell me.
I described that book in detail in the course of those lectures I gave in Vienna. Julie, I'm now certain this fellow's an imposter.
That book. Oh, I thought you had finished that one years ago, Professor.
Oh, I see. No, for 20 years I've talked about that book, but in all that time I haven't written a word, not one word.
But why not?
Because I can't think of anything original to say. Just the same old monotonous history, dry as dust. Sadly, never could find the right words, either to tell a pretty girl or to write a book.
Even when you had this coin here to inspire you.
Why, that's the coin you gave to Henry, Professor.
Yes, I borrowed it from Henry's desk.
Well, you've wasted your time. It's worthless.
Oh, on the contrary. This coin is one of the rarest of all antiquities. Only 100 of these coins were minted by Julius Caesar 2,000 years ago. That was when Cleopatra visited Rome. Presumably, these coins were used to pay her hotel bill.
Why, that's amazing.
Nobody knew about it except Caesar's wife, and she had the coins destroyed. But this one she overlooked. It's an unwritten chapter in history, and you, Professor, will write it.
Do you know any more stories like that?
Any number of them.
Well, you're a curious fellow, Dudley.
Have you just begun to notice that?
Where do you come from?
Well, what if I were to tell you that I come from another planet? Would you believe me?
I don't know.
I'd believe you, Dudley.
And you'd be right, Julia, as always. We all come from our own little planets. That's why we're all different. That's what makes life so very interesting.
Oh, it's getting late. I must be leaving, really.
Yes, so sorry, Professor. We must.
You know, if my wine bottle wasn't empty, we could say goodbye with another drink.
Empty?
Why, yes, I had barely enough for the bottle. It's half full.
Oh, save it for next time, Professor.
I must really be getting old when I can't see what's inside a bottle. Dudley?
Yes, my friend.
There's one thing that troubles me greatly.
Well?
To write a history is a tremendous task. I wonder, will I have time to finish it?
Oh, you'll finish it, Professor. You'll have time.
I don't know why I'd ask you that question. How would you know? Yet somehow I believe you. You see, for quite a while now, every time I passed a cemetery, I felt as if I was apartment hunting.
Goodbye, Professor. Come and see us, please.
I will. Goodbye, and God bless you both.
I'll pass that recommendation along. Thank you, Professor.
Wassail, wassail, all over the town. Our toast it is white and our ale it is brown. Our bowl it is made of the white maple tree. With the wassailing bowl we'll drink to thee.
They're coming up the walk now, Bishop. Mrs. Brome and Mr. Dudley.
Oh, they are. Well, I hope dinner isn't spoiled, Matilda.
Oh, no, sir. I had sort of a feeling they might be late.
Very considerate of you.
Henry?
Good evening, Julia.
I'm sorry I'm so late, dear.
Hello, Henry.
Good evening, Dudley.
We had the most marvelous time. Oh, I wish you'd have been with us.
Yes, I wish I had.
Is Debbie asleep yet?
She's waiting to see you.
Oh, good. I'll go right up.
I trust you spent a profitable afternoon, Dudley.
Well, yes. Did you have a profitable afternoon, Henry?
Not very. Dudley, I'd like to see you for a moment. I mean, here in my study.
Well, certainly.
Now, this won't take long, but I'd rather not be interrupted. You'll excuse me if I lock the door. Now, Dudley, I simply cannot go on like this. Can you prove to me that you are an angel?
Proof? You mean like a document? Surely you of all people should know that angels need no passport about this.
No, I'd be a lot happier if I could see you perform a miracle.
What kind?
Well, make this desk rise up and fly around the room.
Henry, I did not come down here to do silly tricks.
No, I don't believe you are an angel. I think you're a demon, straight out of...
Henry!
Well, that's...
Don't say that word.
Anyway, now you know how I feel.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute, Dudley. I'm not through yet. There's another matter The door. I locked that door. He just opened it and walked out. Dudley? Wait a minute. Dudley? Oh, now it's locked again. Dudley!
He went upstairs, dear, to say goodnight to Debbie.
Oh.
Anything wrong?
No, nothing. Oh, you look very well, Julia. Very bright and gay.
I feel gay, Henry.
I think you're an excellent wife, Julia.
Why, thank you.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the well-ordered life we lead, and I want you to know that I think that the credit for that is due to you much more than to me.
Thank you again, dear.
Do you think I'm an excellent husband?
Of course, dear. Henry, I hope you're going to take things easier now. I mean, with Dudley here, I think he's very able.
You do?
Well, yes. He knows so many things.
Well, what, for instance?
Well, you should have seen him this afternoon. We met Professor Witheridge. Why, Dudley knows more about history than he does.
Oh, he should. He's been at it longer.
What?
Oh, nothing. I'll drop in to see Debbie now, dear.
Don't you know any stories, Mr. Dudley?
Oh, I know lots of stories, Debbie.
I think it would be very nice of you to tell me one.
Well, I know a story that happened many, many years ago about a boy who lived in a little town.
What was his name?
His name was David. He was a shepherd. The town where he lived was called Bethlehem.
Oh, I know Bethlehem. That's where the star was.
That's right. Only David lived long before that star. Well, one night, David was out in the hills tending his sheep. He was playing the harp and singing. Then all of a sudden, an angel came down and spoke to him.
How did David know he was an angel?
Well, he didn't know. That's the way it always is. Angels come down and put ideas into people's heads. And when people feel very proud about themselves because they think it was all their own idea. Well, anyway, this angel spoke to David. He said, "One of your lambs have strayed." So David put aside the harp and went out into the darkness to find the lamb. Of course, the angel guided him. And when David found the lamb, he saw a great, ferocious lion there.
Oh, dear.
And David said to the lion, "You get away from that lamb." The lion said, "You get away from me, or I'll eat you too."
Did David run away?
No. In fact, the angel put another idea into his head. And David took out a sling and hurled a stone right between the lion's eyes.
Served him good and right.
Yes, I think it did. And David picked up the lamb and carried it back to the fold. Then he felt so happy that he took his harp out, made up a new song. It started like this. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Oh, come on, Henry. I think you can help me out here. I think you know the rest of this.
Some other time.
Well,
Good night, Daddy.
Good night, darling. Now, if you're ready, Dudley, so is dinner.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you.
So, Henry, right after dinner, we'll get a taxi and go to St. Timothy's.
Oh, St. Timothy's? Tonight?
Of course, dear. The choir's rehearsing for the benefit. Henry, we promised Miss Miller we'd go.
Oh, Julia, I telephoned Mrs. Hamilton this afternoon.
Henry!
I apologized to her for some of the things I said. I had to. And she said I might call on her tonight.
But the rehearsal is just for you.
$1 million from Mrs. Hamilton, dear, is much more important. Besides, Miss Miller will be delighted to see you.
You're her bishop, Henry, and besides, I just don't like going alone.
My evening seems quite free, Henry.
No, definitely not. You've done enough already.
Well, I was about to suggest that I see Mrs. Hamilton and you take Julia to St. Timothy's.
You and Mrs. Hamilton? Oh, no.
Well, it's just a suggestion.
Dudley, would you mind very much going with me?
Julia!
Yes, Henry? Well?
I think that might be a very good solution. Thank you, Dudley.
You're welcome, Henry.
Mrs. Brome, oh, I'm so delighted to see you.
Hello, Miss Miller. Oh, this is Mr. Dudley, the bishop's new assistant.
Oh, Mr. Dudley, a pleasure.
Thank you. The bishop will try to get here a little later, Miss Miller. Something important came up.
Oh, of course. He's such a busy man now.
He didn't want to delay rehearsal.
Oh, Mrs. Brome, I'm terribly embarrassed. Look over there. Only 2 of the children have come. Oh, it's just too difficult, I suppose. Trying to compete with basketball and Christmas?
Oh, I wouldn't worry, Miss Miller. They'll all show up. Hiya, kids.
Hi.
What do you sing?
Me, first soprano.
Any good?
I doubt it.
Oh, come on. How about giving out?
You mean alone?
Well, yeah, of course. Well, you've got Ruth with you. Hiya, Ruth.
Hi.
What do you say? Come
It's
on.
okay by me.
Fine. I'll start you off.
Away in the manger, no crib.
Mrs. Brome, look. Here are some of the other children.
Why, yes. Maybe basketball isn't so important after all.
So you can be proud of them, Miss Miller. They sing quite beautifully.
They've never sung so well. Never. And look, they're all here now. I don't understand.
Oh, if Henry could hear this, like angels.
Better. Believe me.
I'm so relieved, Bishop Brome. You needn't make any further apologies.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Hamilton. And in view of your generosity, the George B. Hamilton Memorial Chapel shall be located wherever you specify in the new cathedral.
Well, now we're getting somewhere, aren't we? Oh, there's another matter. That window depicting St. George and the dragon.
Yes?
I should very much like the countenance of St. George to resemble my late husband.
Oh, and who do you see as the dragon?
Oh, any old dragon.
Oh, thank you. Well, now that we're in such complete accord, would you mind very much if we postpone the details? Julia's waiting for me at St. Timothy's.
Very well. We can go over the plans when I transfer the funds.
Thank you very much. Well, that's strange.
Is anything the matter?
Well, this chair, I can't get up. It's stuck to my... I'm stuck to it.
Stuck to the chair?
Yes, it doesn't seem quite right, does it?
Stevens! Stevens, come here.
Yes, madame.
There's something wrong with the bishop's chair.
Oh, madame, it must be the new varnish. The furniture people should have warned us.
I do hope I'm not harming the chair.
Oh, this is preposterous.
Awkward situation, isn't it? Perhaps you could give a little pull at the back, Stevens.
Yes, sir.
Again, please.
Your trousers, sir. I'm afraid if we pull any more.
Mrs. Hamilton, might I use the telephone?
Yes, of course. It's right over there. Can you walk?
Well, after a fashion.
That chair, madam, it clings to him like a brother.
Well, do something, Stevens. Call the shop. Get a plumber.
Hello? Matilda, this is Bishop Rome. I'm at Mrs. Hamilton's. I want you to come here at once with another pair of trousers. Well, what difference does it make? Just bring me another pair of trousers. Thank you.
I'm so sorry this has happened.
Oh, if I could only get in touch with Julia or Dudley. Dudley! This is all his doing. Dudley,
Now, Bishop. Don't be nervous. Have a chair, Bishop.
I have a chair.
I love this time of year. Look how excited all the shoppers are.
Yes, it brings out the best in people. A taxi!
Oh, Dudley, look at the hat in that window. I love it. Oh, it appears someone else loves it too. That lady is trying it on.
Oh, here's our cab, Julia. Julia? Hold on, Sylvester. It looks like we may be in the shop for a while.
Okay, mister. Wait. Sylvester, how did you know?
Well, if you'll just wait a moment, I'll be right with you. Now, this is one of our most exclusive finds. Oh, this is lovely. Simply ravishing. So chic.
Well, it was meant to be. The hat looks lovely on her.
One moment, Julia.
It is sweet, isn't it? Stunning. Not everyone could wear such a daring hat. It was made for you, madame. Oh, you like?
I thought for sure she was going to buy that hat. Well, I'm kind of glad she changed her mind.
It looks lovely on you indeed.
I can't imagine what happened to Henry. He was so sure he'd meet us there.
Well, I suppose he's detained at Mrs. Hamilton.
Oh, of course. You know, Dudley, it's a strange thing. You seem to be able to make me feel as if everything is going to be all right.
Everything could be all right for everyone, Julie, if people could only learn to behave like human beings.
It's a lovely night, isn't it? Oh, driver, could you take us through the park, please?
But that's out of your way, lady.
You're getting bored with us already, driver?
Say, I'll drive you by way of Mexico City if you want me to. That's the trouble with this country. Too many people who don't know where they're going, and they want to get there too fast. I'd call you two very unusual people.
Why, thank you. You're very perceptive.
You know your destinations, but you're in no hurry to get there. And you're not reluctant to spend an extra 4 bits for a detour with Mother Nature. You crazy or something? Look where you're going.
Oh, that was really a close one.
Holy smoke, did you see the way I missed that truck? Like a miracle.
Yes, I know. Just don't overplay your hand.
Hey, look. They're ice skating over there.
Well, indeed they are. Julia, let's go ice skating.
Oh, no, we mustn't. It's too late. We couldn't. Do you really think we could?
You can stop here, driver. We're gonna go ice skating. And you, too. Oh, it was great. Well, we're here. This is it, Sylvester. What do I owe you?
Not a cent, my friend. You want to know why? Because you and the little lady here have restored my faith in human nature. Good night, Dudley. Good night, Julia.
Good night, Sylvester.
Sylvester is a noble soul. His children and his children's children will rise up, call him blessed.
Oh, this has been the most wonderful evening I've had in years.
It's the most wonderful evening I've had in centuries. You're a beautiful skater, Julia. In fact, you're quite beautiful.
Well, you've come home.
Hello there, Henry.
Henry, what happened to you? I thought you were going to meet us at St. Timothy's.
What happened to you? It's almost 10 o'clock.
You'll never guess, Henry. We've been ice skating.
Ice skating?
Yes, you should have seen Dudley. He's marvelous, Henry. Oh, and those children at St. Timothy's, the way they sang, it was simply heavenly.
I'm sure it was.
Did you have a successful meeting with Miss Hamilton?
Quite satisfactory, thank you.
Good. I'll be right down, Henry.
Dudley?
Yes, Henry?
Whatever went on in these last few hours, there's one thing I'm sure of. Julia is absolutely blameless.
Well, of course she is.
But you deliberately stopped me from joining you by the seat of my pants.
Well, now, Julia had a very good time.
But I did not.
Henry, if you had sent me to represent you with Mrs. Hamilton, I would have gone. But you didn't. So I represented you with your wife.
Oh, is that part of the normal duties of an angel?
Sometimes, Henry, angels must rush in where fools fear to tread.
I haven't the faintest idea what that means, and I don't want it explained to me. In any event, you can go now, Dudley. I've solved my problems. Mrs. Hamilton is giving the money for the cathedral.
But that was a foregone conclusion, providing you were willing to make a slight sacrifice of your principles.
No, don't you think it's worth it for this glorious edifice?
I'm not so sure of its glory at a time like this.
No, you're not.
No. These are rather lean years for the world, Henry. So many people need food. So many people need shelter. This big roof could make so many little roofs.
I'm dealing with a materialistic, selfish woman. She wouldn't listen to talk like that.
Did you try?
You came here so that I could have a cathedral. Well, I've got a cathedral, and I want you to get out of my house and out of my life and away from Julia.
Suppose you pray for that, Henry. After all, it was that prayer that brought me here.
Very well. I'll pray.
No. That, Henry, was no prayer.
Well, it was right from my heart. I want you to go.
Julia doesn't.
Julia, get out. Get out.
Julia's about to come down those stairs. Don't you let her see her like this, Henry. Try and calm yourself.
Dudley?
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, Debbie's awake. She wants to say goodnight to him.
I just told you Dudley is gone.
But where?
How should I know?
But why did he leave so suddenly?
Because I got rid of him. I told him to go away. I fired him.
Why?
Because he's incompetent. He's no good at his job, and I cannot stand the sight of him.
Henry.
Believe me, Julia, I know what I'm doing.
We pause now for a station identification.
If it isn't Skeeter, the wind blows to Harold, he'll blow right over.
Leave him alone, Buff. He's a nice boy.
Yeah, nice small fry. Just what the girls want, right? Nice and weak.
Hey there, you two. How's about a soda, Kitty?
Listen here, Pally. Kitty wants nothing to do with you. She's my gal.
Sorry, Buff. I didn't know Kitty couldn't have a soda with whomever she wants.
You better watch it, you gangly old spaghetti noodle. You step foot in that soda fountain and you'll be the laughing stock of the town.
Sorry, Skeeter. Maybe some other time?
Yeah, when pigs fly.
Buff, you don't need to be so harsh. He's just a gentleman. I don't want to hurt his feelings.
If you want, gentle girl, go have a soda with your girly friends.
Oh, one day, Buff. You just watch out.
Watch out. That's a laugh. What are you gonna do, Fink?
Well, you'll just see.
Yeah, don't blow away, Skeeter.
I'll show him. I'll get hard-boiled, and I'll show him a thing or two. I'm going to go to the Westmont Fitness Club. He'll see. I'm going to lift weights and run and try some sports. This Skeeter won't be some Valentino.
That can't be.
What? Who?
Hello, Kitty. Nice to see you again. Are you still with that goon?
Skeeter?
Hey, what's buzzin', cousin?
Yes, Skeeter, you too. Would you like a hand with your jacket?
Kitty, don't you...
Buff, don't snap your cap.
My, Skeeter, something about you has changed. You look more confident. What's changed?
Heidi-ho, Kitty. You must be referring to my muscular body and chiseled face.
Why, yes. What a change, I must say.
Well, I put down my studies for a few hours and made a trip to the Westmont Park District gym, Westmont Fitness.
All this at Westmont Fitness?
Yes, sirree. Hey, Sugar, are you rationed?
Not anymore. I don't have a date for the shindig this Friday, and I was wondering if maybe you wanted to, go with me.
Sure.
This chump?
Buff, Skeeter's the big cheese now.
Hey, Kitty, want to ditch this flat tire and fetch a soda?
You're not weak anymore, Skeeter. Just weak in the knees.
Sure thing, doll. A trip to the Westmont Fitness never hurts. Hey, Biff, catch you later. Factories that have been used for years to create tanks and airplanes are put to good use pumping out automobiles. The Westmont Auto Mile on Ogden Avenue is sure proof of that.
Hiya, Jim. What do you think of these new automobiles? I'm thinking of getting myself one of those.
I know my auto is like a personal chariot, and I have a special relationship with it. Mine is my prized possession.
Well, your motor car surely does represent who you are.
That is the beauty of the Westmont Auto Mile. Are you kidding? There is an automobile for every personality and budget down there on Ogden Avenue.
The most important thing to me is a heavy body built of steel. The heavier the better, I say. I saw prices that start at $525, and they go all the way up to $2,500.
Our auto is big enough for all four of my kiddos to sit in the front seat alongside their papa.
I'm not sure if I want a Packard or a Studebaker or a Model T or a DeSoto. A multi-range gear shift sets itself apart from those low-priced automobiles.
The Westmont Auto Mile represents the best selection of cars in the Chicagoland area. Their award-winning dealerships have earned titles such as Best Customer Service, Highest Volume Dealer, #1 Service Department, and Best Showroom. These titles mean one thing: customer satisfaction.
Well, at McGrath Auto, Laurel Audi, Laurel BMW, McGrath Lexus, Infinity of Clarendon Hills, Oakbrook Scion, and Oakbrook Toyota, both in Westmont, something for everyone. They have it all. I will find my personal chariot on the Westmont Auto Mile.
Wrap up your auto for your honey and surprise her for the holidays. She will feel like a queen in your brand new family car. Better make it a big one to fit your ever-growing family. You can dream of a two-seater for the future.
Come on, folks, turn up the radiola and listen to this message from Frame Makers.
Picture frames make your photos fancy. Hang them on the wall, they are pretty schmancy.
Frame Makers frames are custom made. Fine family photos are made in the shade. Photos, posters, prints, and more. Anything imagined can be framed for sure. Frame Makers frames are custom made. Fine family photos are made in the shade.
Frame Makers, craftsmanship, style and quality, ready in a zip.
Frame Makers frames are custom made. Fine family photos are made in the shade. Framemakers is conveniently located in downtown Westmont at 10 North Cass Avenue. Pay us a visit and add a custom-made frame to your home today.
The curtain rises on Act 3 of The Bishop's Wife, brought to you by Westmont Movie Classics and Uncle John's Music.
Two days have passed since Dudley disappeared, much to the relief of Bishop Henry Brougham. And now it's early evening on Christmas Eve.
Here's the list of your calls, Bishop, ending at Mrs. Hamilton's. Oh, and there's a taxi waiting for you outside.
Thank you, Miss Cassaway. If you're through typing my sermon before I'm back, just leave the copies on the desk.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to keep you so late on Christmas Eve.
Oh, it's all right, sir. Bishop Brougham?
Yes?
There's still no word from Mr. Dudley?
Miss Cassaway, I discharged Mr. Dudley. There's no reason to hear from him at all.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you don't mind, please tell Mrs. Brougham that the taxi is waiting.
We can go to the Trop Shores first, Henry, and then the Vandovers. And then...
Julia, hiya, Julia.
Sylvester, what are you doing here?
Well, when the call came in for a cab, I sure hightailed it over here. I was hoping there'd be another skating party. Hey, where's Dudley?
I don't know.
Look, you got a preacher with you.
Yes, this is...
Don't tell me. A wedding. You and Dudley.
Sylvester, this is my husband, Bishop Brougham.
How do you do?
Oh.
And now, if you don't mind, we'd like to go to North Maple Street by taxicab, Sylvester, not ice skates.
Well, good evening, Miss Cassaway.
Oh, Mr. Dudley.
Did I startle you?
Oh, yes. I didn't hear you come in. But where have you been?
Oh, here and there, Miss Cassaway.
Why, we've been so worried about you. And poor Mrs. Brougham. She's been popping in and out of here all day. Have I seen you? Have I heard from you?
Where is she?
She and the bishop are making Christmas calls.
Oh, they'll be home then.
Oh, yes, sir. After Mrs. Hamilton's. Then they go to St. Timothy's for the midnight service.
Well, you should be home too, Miss Cassaway. I'll type that sermon for you.
Oh, no, don't. The bishop told me I needed...
It's Christmas Eve. You should be with your family.
Well, if you really... Oh, thank you, Mr. Dudley.
Merry Christmas, Mildred.
Merry Christmas, Dudley.
Now let's see. Get a hold of this here. Henry's Christmas sermon. A new cathedral? Miss Hamilton's magnificent gesture? Ooh, no. Money? No. Pledges needed. Nope. Sorry, Henry, but all of this is no sermon for a Christmas service. Let's see. Suppose you tell them the story of an empty stocking. Once, upon a midnight clear, there was a child's cry. A blazing star hung over a stable, and wise men came with birthday gifts. We have forgotten many things during the centuries, but not that night.
Whom did you say is calling, sir?
Oh, I'm Dudley. Stevens, Bishop Brom's new assistant. Would you mind telling Mrs. Hamilton that I'm here?
I don't believe she's expecting you, sir.
I'm sure she isn't.
Yes, sir.
I'll be waiting in the music room.
The music room, sir?
Yes, there's a harp in there. Wonder if she'd mind if
I'm afraid she would, sir.
Well, in that event, you'd better hurry off and tell her then.
Yes, sir, I shall.
Let's see here. Beautiful harp.
Who are you?
Good evening, Mrs. Hamilton. This is a beautiful harp you have here.
My butler said you told him you're Bishop Rome's assistant.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Hamilton. The bishop will be along a little later.
That music you're playing.
Yes, I thought you'd recognize it.
No one living knows that composition except me.
What a shame that Alan Cartwright died. That only you and I would know his music.
Alan Cartwright died nearly 40 years ago. You couldn't have known him.
Oh, I'm much older than you think, Mrs. Hamilton. Tell me about him, about Alan Cartwright.
What is there to tell? He was the only man I ever loved, but I was afraid of poverty. So he went away, and I never saw him again. Why am I telling you this?
And then so you decided to marry the rich George Hamilton.
I made George happy, I think. And since he died, I've spent a fortune honoring his memory in empty monuments.
Well, they're no more empty than your own life, Mrs. Hamilton. Since you sent the man you loved away, you haven't allowed yourself to love anyone else. You've withdrawn into a shell, a cold and, alas, selfish woman.
But what can I do?
Well, I'll tell you what you can do. You break that shell. Now think of what you could do for others. You'll no longer have time to think of yourself. Forgive yourself. Miss Hamilton, as Alan Cartwright forgave you so many years ago.
Do you really think he did?
I know he did.
How did you know about Alan Cartwright?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Mrs. Hamilton? Ah! They're at the front door. Julia and Henry.
I can't see them. I can't see them, not now.
Yes, you can. Now you're going to go to the hall and you'll greet them in your usual warm, heated manner.
You'll come with me and you'll stay, won't you, Tudley?
No, I'm afraid I can't. I have a great deal of work to do tonight.
Bishop and Mrs. Brome are here, madam.
Now, don't keep them waiting.
How do you do, Mrs. Hamilton?
Julia! How nice of you to come and see me. And Henry, Merry Christmas. Henry, I said Merry Christmas.
Oh, yes. Merry Christmas, Mrs. Hamilton.
Oh, and no more of this Mrs. Hamilton business. My name's Agnes. And now we can all... Oh, he's gone. He's gone already.
Gone? Who?
Dudley.
He was here?
I might have known it.
But where did he go?
Oh, the poor man. He said he had so much work to do. Really, Henry, you must make him take some rest.
I've been trying to make him do just that.
Oh, I can't thank you enough for sending him to me. Meeting Dudley, oh, I know it sounds ridiculous, but meeting him has been the greatest spiritual experience of my life. How did you ever find him, Henry?
More or less of an accident, I suppose.
Or more or less of a miracle.
Oh, it was. Talking with this wonderful, understanding man has... Henry, I've suddenly changed my mind about the cathedral.
You have?
Yes. I'm going to give my money to those who need it, to the poor, the homeless, the unappreciated, and I want you to direct the spending of it.
Now you see what Dudley's done, Henry?
Yes, I see.
And you understand?
Mrs. Hamilton, Julia, forgive me, but I have to leave. There's someone I must see immediately.
Henry?
Henry, my dear fellow, sit down, sit down.
Professor Woodridge, I just had to see you.
I'm delighted. Here, Henry, a glass of sherry.
No, thank you.
Oh, but I insist. Henry, you see this bottle? Now watch. I filled 2 glasses, and behold, the bottle is still half full. And what's more, the sherry itself, it stimulates, it warms, it inspires, but no matter how much you drink, it never inebriates. And the contents never diminish, always half full.
Oh, Dudley's been here.
Why, yes, and the bottle isn't all. He told me to look up some ancient texts in the library, which no living scholar has ever been able to decipher. I read them as if they were English. Oh, let's face it, Henry, this Dudley fellow is not like the rest of us.
He says he's an angel.
An angel?
That's funny. Nothing stopped me from saying it that time. Angel. He says he's an angel.
From heaven?
That I am not sure about.
An angel. Ah, too bad. He's such a nice fellow.
Oh, he's brought nothing but disaster to me.
That's absurd. He and Julie were here the other day. She seemed happier than she'd been in years.
He's made her despise me.
Are you sure?
That's why I've come to see you. Do you think it's all my own fault, Professor? You don't have to answer. I asked for this in more ways than one. I suppose that Dudley came to me just to confirm that I had already lost Julia's love.
Well, if there's anything I can do, Henry...
there's nothing anyone can do.
But there must be. You and Julia love each other. You always have.
That's only partly true. I love Julia.
Well, then why don't you fight for her?
Fight? How can I fight an angel?
But you have a tremendous advantage over him.
Advantage? Over an angel?
Well, precisely. He is an angel. Julia is a creature of the earth. She's a woman, Henry, and you're a man.
Yes. Yes, I am.
And if I were you, I'd get myself home.
Home? That's where he'll be, waiting for Julia. Excuse me. Happy Christmas.
Henry, is that you, dear?
Hello, Julia.
Dudley?
I've come to say goodbye. I have to be moving along.
Oh, well, where will you be going?
Wherever they send me.
They?
My superior officers.
Will we ever see you again?
They seldom send us twice to the same place, Julia. We might form attachments.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, of course not, Julia. Julia, I don't want to leave.
Why?
Well, there are few people who know the secret of making heaven here on earth. And you are one of those rare people.
You frighten me. Dudley, I think you ought to go.
Julia, please don't send me away.
What are you saying?
That I'm tired of being a wanderer. I'm tired of an existence which is neither hot nor cold, hungry nor full, and...
No, you must go away and never come back. Don't look at me like that. Dudley, no. Henry? Henry.
It's all right, Julia. It's all right, my darling. Go upstairs, dear. I'll handle this alone. As for you, Dudley, I have never before had to fight an angel, but I suggest you take off your coat and put up your dukes.
Now, why do you want to fight me, Henry?
Because you're a thief, trying to steal the love that belongs to me.
Henry, do you realize that as an angel, I could quite possibly destroy you with a bolt of lightning?
I don't care. Julia means more to me than my life. I'm not going to lose her.
Ah. Then I have news for you. I'm leaving.
I'll accept that as a fact when I see it happen.
No, you won't. Because when I'm gone, you will never know that an angel has visited this house.
And Julia? What about her?
There'll be no memory with her either. Or with Debbie, or the professor, or anyone else for that matter.
I don't trust you.
You may, Henry, because your prayers have been answered.
No, that's not true. I prayed for a cathedral.
No, Henry. You prayed for guidance, and that has been given to you. I'm being paged. Just a minute, please. Well, goodbye, Henry.
If we should need you again, will you come back?
No, I'm requesting an assignment at the other end of the universe.
Is that because I was so difficult?
No. No, this difficulty was in me. When an immortal finds himself envying the mortal trusted to his care, well, it's a definite sign of danger. Yes, yes! Heard you the first time. Now, going upstairs, take her in your arms, Henry, and kiss her for me. Aw, you lucky, lucky Henry.
Julia? Julia!
Quiet, darling. You'll wake Debbie up.
Are you all right?
Well, yes, of course I am. Henry, did you get that for Debbie?
Get what for Debbie?
That little angel there on her bed.
Why, no.
I can't imagine where it came from. Henry, what is it?
Oh, I don't know. I have the most inexplicable feeling of happiness.
Why, so do I.
Oh, Julia, I love you, Julia.
I love you, Henry. Listen, the bells from St. Timothy's.
It's almost midnight.
You'll have to hurry.
Oh, my sermon. It was all about the cathedral. It will never do now.
Don't worry, dear. You'll think of something even better. Merry Christmas, Henry.
Merry Christmas, darling. Tonight, I want to tell you the story of an empty stocking. Once upon a midnight clear, there was a child's cry. A blazing star hung over a stable, and wise men came with birthday gifts. We have forgotten many things through the centuries, but not that night. We celebrate it with stars on Christmas trees, with the sound of bells and with gifts, but especially with gifts. You give me a book, I give you a tie. Aunt Martha has always wanted an orange squeezer, and Uncle Harry, he could do with a new pipe. Oh, we forget nobody, adult or child. All the stockings are filled. All that is, except one. And we have even forgotten to hang it up. The stocking for the child born in a manger. It is his birthday we're celebrating. Don't let us ever forget that. Let us ask ourselves what he would wish for most, and then let each put in his share. Loving kindness, warm hearts, and a stretched out hand of tolerance. All the shining gifts to make a peace on earth.
Our stars will return for their curtain calls in a moment.
Stanley Jamberger says to join in the Westmont special events by attending the Taste of Westmont, cruising nights, fresh market nights, and the road rally. The Westmont Special Events Commission mission is to assist the community in the successful development, promotion, and execution of various special events. Community involvement and the passion Westmont Special Events has committed to the Village of Westmont is why we love where we live and work, the Village of Westmont. Call Westmont Special Events at 630-829-9378 and get involved with your hometown fun.
My goodness, there's such a blustering draft wafting through our front windows.
These winter winds really make it tough to enjoy the crackling fire in the front room.
Well, maybe Santa will bring us some new windows and doors so we can properly enjoy the cozy comforts of the holidays.
Better yet, maybe we'll get a special delivery from our neighborhood windows and doors company, Dilworth Windows and Doors.
Dilworth Windows and Doors provide more than protection from drafts. They're beautiful. You'd cause a stir in the neighborhood if you got a fancy new door and bay window.
Well, I think energy efficiency and lower bills are a bit more convincing.
Dear, those Dilworth Windows and Doors would also provide safety. You can't put a price on that.
Dilworth has so many beautiful choices. You can let your imagination soar.
One of these days.
Who could that be outside on this snowy day?
It's a gentleman. He's got big boxes. He must have a special surprise for you, Agnes.
Oh, wow! It's my major award. Get a load of this.
What, dear? You're expecting something?
You must have gotten more than a Christmas turkey for your bonus this year.
Nah, I just met with my friendly door-to-door Dilworth salesman, Gary. Come on over. Let's see what you got.
George, you make my dreams come true. You got us new windows and doors just in time for Christmas.
Why, with Dilworth's speedy and professional, personalized installation, you can't get better service. They even offer their own lifetime installation warranty.
Yes, the neighbors will flip their wig. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a parade of people out there on the sidewalk to gawk in awe.
Did you buy them on time, honey bunny?
Dilworth does offer a special credit plan financing, they call it.
Hey, you guys already done? Come on, gals. Let's get out there and see from the outside.
My, look how they glisten. They really brighten our living space.
Look how sturdy and substantial they are.
Ladies, let's just take a minute to enjoy the splendor of my major award. Just look at it. I could just run my hands across them.
Oh, but don't. You know I'll just have to clean them then.
Oh, yeah. The front door says, "Welcome home."
Dilworth's mission is to fulfill the replacement window needs of consumers throughout the northwestern Chicago area. In doing so, they're driven to exceed their expectations for service, quality, and value. Additionally, they strive to earn their customers' loyalty by working to deliver more than what was promised, always with honesty and fairness, providing exceptional personal service that creates an enjoyable service experience.
We're decked out with Dilworth.
Shop Dilworth Windows and Doors in downtown Westmont for all your replacement windows and doors needs.
Come on, ladies, enough of the meat and potatoes. Just because we have our kitchen labor-saving appliances now, there is no need to use that gas oven or electric Frigidaire to save us time on our desserts. La La Lee is a pioneer in already prepared cakes and desserts, which means less work for the mother. Go to La La Lee Patisserie in downtown Westmont. La La Lee bakers make their cakes with the love and kindness that you would for your family yourself. In fact, the La La Lee cakes are like a French delicacy that the classiest women turn to for all of their afternoon lunches or bridge games with friends. La La Lee Patisserie creates wonderful decadent desserts with many healthful benefits too. They are rich in dextrose, the sugar your body uses directly for energy. That way you can keep your slim figure and have leftover energy when your husband gets home from work. Save money on the long list of ingredients you need to bake your own cakes and put that aside to buy yourself a lipstick.
Buying cakes and wearing lipstick make your husbands happy. La La Lee Patisserie, a little bit of France in Westmont. So European and so progressive.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King.
Our most sincere thanks are due to our stars for the joy they have brought this audience tonight. They are the man behind the telephone and typewriter, international man of mystery and world-renowned chocolatier, Dan Sparks. Our director, Rob Mackert. And the cast, Shirley Pulaski, Will Larkin, Dolores Keefe, Kaylee Price, Nate Goodman, Linda Smith, Rose Armstrong, Grace Notbush, Phil McCullum, Laura Weaver, Cassandra Johnson-Locke, Dorothy McCullum, Mary Angela Guglielmo, John Page, and our stars, John Sachanda, Donna Kanick, and James Edward Dolphin. And lastly, the Westmont High School Chorus directed by Thomas Jesse.
Traditionally, this is a time for an old American custom, going home for Christmas. It's a time of joyful reunion, a time to strengthen the ties that bind each family together. And in the family, in our only hope for the future. For from deep in our hearts and our homes must come the fulfillment of the age-old promise of Christmas, the promise of peace on earth and goodwill among men, all men. On behalf of the Westmont Park District and the Progressive Village Performance Network, may I wish everyone the happiest of holidays.
And we invite you to join us all next time for the stage production of the classic comedy Bleacher Bums. This is Don Pardo saying goodnight to you and Merry Christmas.